The Potter family, ever heard of that name? That is today's topic. In this video of Premium Theory, we'll be discussing the Potter family, history, timeline, how they're so rich, and much, much more. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's get started. The Potter family is a very old one and goes back into history. However, it never really came into the front line of the Wizarding world until the very first Harry James Potter that we know of was born. Potter is definitely not an uncommon surname in the Muggle world. This was actually the reason they were not involved in the Sacred 28. The Potters had illustrious starts, but were quickly tamed by the Deathly Hallows. Potter, in the Muggle world, means a man who creates pottery. It mostly all started with one ancient Linfred of Stinchcombe. Does it sound French? Yeah, that's what I thought. A locally well-beloved, kind, and loving man. He was always very eccentric and actually pretty absent-minded too. He was given the nickname of the Potterer and slowly carved into Potter. His Muggle neighbors did not know, however, that behind closed doors he was making cure for pox and used potions and materials. They all just believed him to be a harmless man with love for his funny plants in his garden. Though, as I said, he was able to create what would be the foundation of the Potter family's fortune from then on. Historians and others still credit Linfred to this day of his incredible creation of Skeelgrow and Pepper Potion, many helpful remedies and other potions that are very well known and used today. This enabled him to receive a big amount of wealth and gold, and he was able to leave it for his 7 children. Linfred's oldest son, Hardman, marries Iolanthe Peveril. Ever heard of that name before? She came from the village of Godric's Hollow. She was actually the granddaughter of Ignotus Peveril. In absence of male heirs, she was given the cloak of invisibility. She told her husband that it was a tradition in her family that the position of the cloak was to remain a secret, and her husband respected and obeyed her wishes. The cloak resumed to be handed down throughout this family. The Potters resumed to marry their neighbors, sometimes Muggles, and lived in the west of England for several generations, each and every one adding to the family wealth that was once started by their ancestor Linfred. Occasionally, a Potter would make it to London. 2 times have a person from this family sat on the Wizangmot. Ralston Potter, who stayed from 1612 to 1652. He was a great supporter of Lord Voldemort and killed his parents. Nah, just kidding. However, he was a great supporter of the Statute of Secrecy. This also kind of started the enmity between the Malfoys and Potters, because if you haven't watched my other video about the Malfoy family actually didn't really like the Statute of Secrecy. The other one was named Henry Potter, who also was known as Harry to his friends and intimates. Henry was actually a direct descendant of Iolanthe and Hardwin. He served from 1913 to 1921. Henry, however, caused a bit of ruckus when he publicly talked of the Minister of Magic at that time, Archer Evermund, who had forbidden the magical community from getting involved into the World War I. His talk on behalf of Muggles was a big, major, and contributing fact that the family were not granted a rank on the Sacred 28. Henry's son was named Fleemont Potter. Fleemont was his name as it was his mother's maiden name, which would die out, and was named it as one of her greatest wishes. However, he was never burdened by a strange name. He actually took it remarkably well. There have been instances where he would duel other kids at Hogwarts as they made fun of his name. Even though his name was a bit dim, Fleemont, who was actually the guy that quadrupled the family gold at that time. This was done as he made Sleekeazy's hair potion. His wife's name was Ephumia. He sold the company at a huge profit as they retired. To their shock, they had a child at this time of their lives. Their beloved boy James was born. Fleemont and Ephumia lived as long to see their boy go to Hogwarts, marry Lily Evans, but did not live to see their grandson Harry. How did they die? Well, it was not just old age. Dragonpox pulled them off in a couple of days as they were so old. Because of that, James inherited the invisibility cloak, or Cloak of Invisibility, which was later given to Harry Potter, and then James Potter again after him, who is Harry's child. Alright, so we can wrap up our we can wrap up our video from there. If you guys enjoy, put it down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And for now, and until next time, see ya.